Okay, so we're back with my favorite daughter, Amelia. um, the truth is, whoever's around me is my favorite at the time. Rosie is 10. She's probably a little too young for this podcast, but Amelia and I had a discussion about kind of what's on her mind at 17, almost 18 years old, and other young adults. What's on their mind about money? What worries them about money? What are some of the things? And we just touched on a couple things. Today, we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk specifically, mostly about investing and what she's seeing with people her age and what's out there. And this is a interesting one as well because I would say I think all of us on the adult side we've seen behavior from parents in sports that maybe not all of us like. For instance, and you'll probably know what I'm talking about here. You sign your daughter up for wrestling, or you sign your son up for baseball, and before you know it, it's travel this and travel that, and you've got these parents that have their kids on 6 teams, and the kid has 6 different baseball bats, or 15 different kits for their wrestling, and it's just too much. And really, what it is in a lot of cases, I'll say, it's the parents sort of going, I didn't have this when I was a kid, and I want it for my kid, but it's a lot of pressure. I see that happening with money because a lot of times by the time you become a new client of mine, you might be 40 or 50 years old in some cases. And you were never taught about money and you didn't think about investing and you feel behind. And now you turn to your young adult child and you're like, well, I don't want that for them. And so you kind of push them into this world too soon. And there is something going on out there right now that before we turn the camera on, she brought up, which I thought was hilarious because I wrote it down as the note in terms of investing. Okay. So what did you say to me? Try to recreate what you said to me off camera. What's going on out there with your friends?
So I've seen a lot, specifically guys my age, doing trading. And I'm not really sure what it is at all, but I know it's some sort of transaction with money and there's a risk to it.
Yeah. So it's gambling is what it is. It's hilarious that she brought this up because again, I couldn't have made it up when she said that. It's interesting you said the boys are doing it, the guys are doing it. That tracks because men, regardless of age, are much more aggressive with their investments, and just generally they're more aggressive. Women are way better at budgeting and cash flow and thinking about what are the worst case scenarios, insurance, that kind of stuff. Women are great. Women are great clients. Men are difficult because men will, what they'll do is they'll hear of a story. Oh, dude, I bought this stock, right? And what they talk about is the stock that went up. They don't talk about the four that went down. So what trading is right now it's all on the phone. It's all on these apps, and it's actually just like sports gambling. In fact, a lot of the gambling websites allow you to buy stocks and trade the stocks and bet on sports on the same app. So what the guys are doing is they're getting on it doesn't matter how much they might deposit, $500, or less. And they'll go out and they'll buy stocks that they've heard of, they think they know about, but they really don't. They don't know who runs the company and what the cash flows are or anything like that. And it's just like going to Las Vegas and playing blackjack is how they're trading, is how they're treating it. So it doesn't seem bad on its face, but when I describe what it is, what do you think about that? Like, what does that sound like to you? I mean, does it sound like a good idea? Does it sound fun?
Me personally, no, it doesn't sound very fun. Um, I think some of that maybe because, yeah, influenced by friends, but also they can sit on their butt and
Mm,
just type away, just like on their video games, they can type away and then they also get that like adrenaline rush of like, okay, I'm betting, or whether
yeah,
that's with video games or with money, it's the same sort of adrenaline that they feel. But
yeah,
I do hear mostly positive things about it. I've
yeah.
never heard.
No one's going to tell you they lost all their
Right,
money,
right.
right?
I do hear the term day trading.
Uh-huh.
Is that different than trading?
A little bit. So the difference is basically this: a trader could be somebody like me who is on their computer and they'll take large positions. They'll put a large amount of money in an individual stock or maybe a specific market, or segment of market like healthcare or technology. Okay, and they might hold that trade, that position, or that stock for a month or 6 months, or typically less than a year. A day trader is literally somebody who's in and out of a stock in that day. And so we've done podcasts that you can go back and listen to. They're called meme stocks. And it's companies like AMC and others. GameStop was one of them. GameStop, the video game company. And these would run up and drop and run up and drop. And so people would try to get in and out during the same day and try to make a profit. You bring up a really good point, though. There is a dopamine hit. I don't know if you used that word, but you referred to it. Very much so in gambling, any kind of gambling, Las Vegas or sports betting, which is crazy. We live in Missouri, right? And so that's legalized now. And that's probably why you're hearing it more and more. And that dopamine hit of like taking the risk and seeing a payoff, even if it loses, you get a dopamine hit. And now these guys are doing it, your friends maybe, or your acquaintances are doing it with their money. You could say it's harmless because, it's only $100 or $400 or whatever the case may be. But listen, I know people I play hockey at night, and these are adults, and they're doing it with thousands of dollars, and you can lose everything. So that's very much a danger. What else is kind of popular, if anything, that you can think of? What are the kind of things are you hearing out there among your friends? Anything come to mind?
Specifically investments.
Okay. Well, no, it could be anything really, but investing in the gambling aspect of it is really the biggest thing. So like if you're a parent listening to this right now and your child is 17 or your child's 21 or your child's 30, honestly, it's really never too early, I think, to talk. I mean, this is the first conversation you and I have had about day trading, right? And gambling with your money. So Amelia's investments, as I alluded to in the last podcast, is allocated the same way the family money is, right? So you are in 95% stocks, 5% bonds, which are more just for reducing risk. But you own tens of thousands of stocks all over the world. You own stocks in Brazil, and you own stocks in India, and you own stocks in the United States and Canada. You own big companies, and you own small companies. And I didn't pick a single one of them. And I don't decide when we go in and sell one and buy another. What we're doing is we're buying basically markets around the globe, and we hold those for very long periods of time. It's not very sexy. It's not gambling on the phone. We're not getting a huge dopamine hit on it. But as you see your investment go from 5,000 to 10,000 to 20,000 over time, that's where the excitement comes from, as your balance sheet builds. So I think that's a good place to stop for today, because again, if your young adult children are just starting to show some interest in the stock market, likely it's going to be through these apps and through these websites, which is gambling. And like I'm finding out today, I mean, Amelia is aware of this phrase, day trading, doesn't even know what it is, but she kind of got that feeling that maybe it wasn't the greatest thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll do a couple more of these on some other topics and get them out to you as soon as we can.
Joe DeLisi is a registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, OSJ 5280 Carroll Canyon Road, 300 San Diego, California, 92121-619-648-6400. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. Insurance products offered through Westpac Wealth Partners and Insurance Services, LLC, a DBA of Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC. CA insurance license number 0D34103. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Although the information has been gathered from sources believed to be reliable, please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. Guardian, its subsidiaries, agents, and employees do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. Guardian and its subsidiaries do not issue or advise with regard to mortgages, property and casualty insurance, and or car insurance. Consult your tax, legal, or accounting professional regarding your individual situation. All investments and investment strategies contain risk and may lose value. Diversification does not guarantee profit or protect against market loss. Equities may decline in value due to both real and perceived general market, economic, and industry conditions. Investing in securities of smaller companies tends to be more volatile and less liquid than securities of larger companies. Investing in the bond market is subject to certain risks, including market, interest rate, issuer, credit, and inflation risk. This material is intended for general use. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities, LLC, and your financial representative are not undertaking to provide investment advice or make a recommendation for a specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Indices are unmanaged and one cannot invest directly in an index.
88494981.1 expires April 2028.